Look down at your feet right now, because that fat little weed growing in the crack of your sidewalk, the one with the tiny yellow flowers and the thick, rubbery leaves, is one of the most nutritious plants on the planet. And most Americans are paying someone to kill it. That plant is purslane, and the USDA's own nutrition database confirms it contains more omega-3 fatty acids than any other leafy green on Earth. More than spinach, more than kale, more than anything sitting in the produce section of your grocery store right now. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what purslane looks like, where to find it for free, how to eat it, and why this plant, which fed entire populations for thousands of years, was quietly reclassified as a weed in the United States and nearly erased from the American diet. Purslane grows on every single continent except Antarctica. It has been eaten by humans for at least 3,000 years. Ancient Greeks ate it. Native American tribes across the Southwest dried it and stored it for winter. Mexican families have been cooking it. They call it verdolagas for generations. It shows up in Turkish cuisine, Indian cuisine, Chinese cuisine, Middle Eastern cuisine. It is one of the most widely eaten plants in human history. In the United States, it was a common garden vegetable all the way into the early 1900s. You could buy purslane seeds in seed catalogs. Families grew it intentionally. It was considered food. Then something changed. Herbicide companies began marketing products specifically designed to kill broadleaf plants, the category purslane falls into. Agricultural extension offices began issuing advisories to eliminate it from lawns and gardens. And within a couple of generations, a plant your great-grandmother may have cooked for dinner became something most Americans have never heard of eating. Here's what makes that story particularly strange. The nutritional data on purslane is extraordinary. Not good. Extraordinary. Let me give you the actual numbers, straight from the USDA Food Data Center database. Per 100 grams of fresh purslane, 2 grams of protein, 350 milligrams of omega-3 alpha-linolenic acid, which is more omega-3 per gram than any other leafy vegetable on the planet, 65 milligrams of calcium, 68 milligrams of magnesium, 494 milligrams of potassium, 1,320 IU of vitamin A, and 21 milligrams of vitamin C. Now I want to be straight with you about the protein number. 2 grams per 100 grams fresh weight sounds low compared to beef, and it is. But here's the context that matters. Purslane is over 90% water by weight. When you dry it, which is how it was historically used for long-term storage, the protein concentration increases dramatically. Dried purslane powder has been recorded at roughly 17 to 20% protein by weight in peer-reviewed studies. That puts it in the range of many legumes. But protein isn't even the headline with purslane. The omega-3 story is. Dr. James Duke, a botanist who spent decades at the USDA, found that purslane contains up to 4,000 parts per million of alpha-linolenic acid. That's 400 milligrams of omega-3 per 100 gram serving. Fish oil gets all the press. Purslane grows for free in your driveway. It also contains all 9 essential amino acids. Your body cannot produce those on its own. You have to eat them. And this weed you've been stepping on has every single one. Here's the good news. You don't need to go to a specialty store or order seeds online. Purslane is almost certainly growing within walking distance of your front door right now, especially from late spring through early fall. Here's exactly what to look for. Purslane is a low-growing plant that spreads outward along the ground in a mat-like pattern. The stems are thick, smooth, and often reddish or pinkish in color, almost succulent-like. The leaves are small, oval-shaped, thick, and shiny, kind of like tiny jade plant leaves. They feel almost rubbery between your fingers because the plant stores water in them. In summer, you'll see tiny, bright yellow flowers with 5 petals. Those flowers only open on sunny mornings. Purslane loves disturbed soil. You'll find it in garden beds, sidewalk cracks, along driveways, at the base of fences, and in any patch of bare or recently turned soil. It grows in almost every climate zone in the United States. One important thing: only harvest from areas that have not been sprayed with herbicides or pesticides. If you see purslane growing at the edge of a treated lawn, skip it. Find a patch you know is clean. Your own garden bed is ideal. and always give it a good rinse before eating. There's one plant that new foragers sometimes confuse with purslane, spurge. The key difference: spurge stems produce a milky white sap when you break them. Purslane stems do not. If you break a stem and see white sap, that's spurge, not purslane. Put it down and move on. So how does it actually taste? Honestly, it's mild and slightly lemony, with a faint crunch from the thick leaves. Raw, it's a little bit tangy and fresh. Cooked, it becomes tender and a little bit mucilaginous, similar to okra, which is actually what makes it great in soups and stews. Here are 4 ways to use it. Method 1. Raw in salads. Young purslane leaves go straight into a salad bowl. They hold up better than spinach because the leaves are thick. Dress it however you want. The flavor is mild enough that it works with almost any dressing. This gives you the highest omega-3 content because nothing is lost to heat. Method 2. Sautéed. Heat a pan with olive oil, add a clove of garlic, throw in a couple handfuls of purslane, and cook it for 2 or 3 minutes until just wilted. Season with salt and a squeeze of lemon. That's it. The flavor becomes mild and almost sweet. This is the preparation most people prefer when they're trying it for the first time because it tastes familiar, like any cooked green. Method 3. In eggs. Purslane and scrambled eggs is a classic combination in Mexican cooking. Sauté the purslane first to remove some of the moisture, then add your eggs. The slight tang of the purslane cuts through the richness of the eggs really nicely. Method 4. Dried and powdered. This is the historical famine food preparation. Spread purslane on a drying rack or a baking sheet and dry it in your oven at the lowest setting, around 170 degrees, for 3 to 4 hours. Once it's completely dry and crispy, grind it into a powder. 1 tablespoon of that powder stirred into soup or smoothies adds concentrated nutrition. This is what you'd use if you were building a long-term food reserve. Stored in a sealed jar, it lasts for months. If you want a reliable, permanent supply instead of foraging, here's how to establish your own patch with essentially zero effort. Purslane is an annual plant, which means it completes its life cycle in 1 season. But here's the thing. It self-seeds so prolifically that it acts like a perennial. One plant produces tens of thousands of seeds. Let a few plants go to seed at the end of summer, and they will resprout in that same spot every spring for years without you doing anything. To start your patch, find a spot with full or partial sun and any kind of soil. Purslane genuinely does not care about soil quality. In fact, it prefers poor, dry, sandy soil. Collect seeds from a wild plant in late summer when the small seed capsules at the base of the flowers have dried out and turned brown. Scatter the seeds on the soil's surface. Press them lightly in with your hand and water once. Then leave it alone. Purslane seeds need light to germinate, so don't cover them with soil. Just press them to the surface. By mid-spring the following year, you'll have a full patch coming up. Harvest the young stems and leaves throughout the summer. Let a few plants flower and go to seed at the end of the season. In the year after that, you'll have more than you can eat, for free, forever, with zero inputs. That is what your great-grandmother called food security, and it grows in the crack of your sidewalk. Purslane was eaten by humans on every continent for thousands of years. It was sold in American seed catalogs as a garden vegetable within living memory. And right now it is growing for free in nearly every yard, garden, sidewalk crack, and vacant lot in the country. The only thing that changed is what we decided to call it. That's the whole story of this channel. The most useful plants in the world are often the ones that got reclassified, forgotten, or quietly pushed out of the food supply. And getting that knowledge back is a lot simpler than most people think. If you found this useful, hit subscribe. Every week, I cover plants that was buried, forgotten, or suppressed, and I show you exactly what it is, where to find it, and how to use it. In the next video, I'm covering another plant you've definitely seen before and definitely never thought of eating. It's one of the most nutritious greens in the American wild, and your grandfather probably knew exactly what it was. Don't miss that one. Leave a comment below telling me where you found purslane or whether you'd already been eating it. I read every single reply.